Taehyung entered the world beautiful, too beautiful. The kind of child who made strangers gasp in grocery stores, the kind who earned compliments everywhere he went, the kind who teachers adored, relatives doted on, neighbors adored, and the kind that made his sister Hana burn with jealousy from the moment she understood what jealousy was. Hana was older by 1 year, and she thought that made her entitled to the first hug, to the first smile, to the first look of love. But the moment Taehyung was born, everything changed. Their parents glowed whenever they held him. They bragged about his long eyelashes, his soft cheeks, his angelic temperament. They told stories about him like he was a miracle fallen into their arms. And Hana heard it all. Every praise, every comparison, every, "Why can't you be gentle like Taehyung?" Every, "Your brother is so talented." She didn't grow jealous in a day. It was gradual, like water filling a glass until it spills. By the time she was 7, she avoided Taehyung. By 10, she glared at him across the dinner table. By 13, she rolled her eyes whenever he spoke. By 15, she muttered insults under her breath. And by 16, she hated him. Deeply, viciously, quietly. Taehyung, however, adored her. He followed her around, shared his snacks, gave her drawings, saved his pocket money to buy her small gifts. He didn't understand why she scowled at him, why she slapped away his hand when he tried to help her, why she ignored him in front of their parents but became cruel when they weren't looking. Hana's hatred flourished silently, and Taehyung's love endured just as silently. This was how their childhood passed, one sibling loving gently, the other resenting violently. But destiny wasn't done with them, not yet. University should have been freedom. A chance for Taehyung to breathe fresh air, walk in new halls, study what he loved, meet new people. But life rarely works the way it should. Hana attended the same university, the same department, the same campus, and she carried her toxicity with her like perfume. At first, Taehyung thought she would change, that maybe being older now, she would act like a sister. But she only grew worse. The bullying began quietly. Hana and her circle of friends, girls who adored her confidence and boys who worshipped her charm, whispered about Taehyung in corridors. "Look at him. He thinks he's perfect. He probably practices poses in the mirror. He's such an attention seeker." Taehyung pretended not to hear. But the whispers soon turned to actions. His books disappeared. His project files were torn. His locker was scribbled with "pretty boy trash." So he hid the bullying from everyone, including their parents. He smiled through humiliation. He apologized when she cursed him. He stayed silent when she pushed him into corners. Only once did someone try to intervene, a classmate. But Taehyung shook his head desperately. "No, please. She'll get in trouble. She's my sister." Even when she hurt him, he protected her. Some loves were soft. Some loves were self-destructive. Taehyung's love for Hana was both. Once, when Taehyung stayed late at campus to finish a project, Hana and her 2 friends cornered him in an empty stairwell. Hana stepped closer, her voice low. "You think you're so special, don't you?" Taehyung shook his head quickly. "Hana, I don't think that—" She slapped the books out of his hands. "You steal everyone's love like a parasite. Even Mom. She used to only talk about you. Everyone only talks about you. Why? Why not me?" Taehyung swallowed. His voice trembled. "Hana, you're my sister. I love you. I don't want—" "Stop saying you love me," she screamed, shoving him back. "Your love disgusts me. You're a liar, a thief." The girls laughed, watching. "Hana, please," Taehyung whispered, but she pushed him again, Harder. He fell down 2 steps, scraping his arm on the metal railing. He winced, but he didn't get up immediately. Hana stepped over him. "If you tell anyone, Oppa," she sneered, "I swear I will ruin your life." Taehyung looked up at her with gentle, broken-hearted eyes. "I would never hurt you," he whispered. Hana's jaw clenched. Something in those words enraged her even more, because she wanted him to fight back. She wanted him to hate her. She wanted him to feel what she felt. But he wouldn't. He never did. And that hurt her more than his existence. The university held a charity art gala every spring. Taehyung was volunteering as a backstage assistant, arranging art pieces, adjusting lights, fixing labels. And that evening, he saw him. Jungkook, the golden boy, business major, campus heartthrob, multi-talented, handsome, mysterious, adored. Taehyung froze when Jungkook walked in, wearing a black suit, hair styled effortlessly, smile dazzling enough to make anyone forget their name. Taehyung felt something he hadn't felt in months. Hope. Soft, trembling, gentle hope. Jungkook stopped near one of the paintings, ironically one Taehyung had sketched and donated anonymously. He tilted his head, admiring it. "It feels lonely," Jungkook whispered to himself. "Lonely but beautiful." Taehyung's heart fluttered. He didn't intend to speak, but the words slipped out. "That's what I felt when I drew it." Jungkook turned. "You drew this?" Taehyung froze. His throat tightened. His heart raced. No one ever praised him like this. Not with such sincerity. Not with such warmth. Jungkook's smile grew. "It's beautiful," he said. "You're talented." Taehyung blushed and bowed his head. Thank you." Jungkook extended his hand politely. "I'm Jungkook." "I'm Taehyung." Their fingers brushed, and Taehyung felt something ignite inside him. Something forbidden, dangerous, fragile. That night, Taehyung couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Jungkook's smile. On impulse, he wrote a letter. "To the boy with the galaxy eyes, you don't know me. But I saw kindness in your smile today, and it made me feel alive again." He slipped it secretly into Jungkook's locker the next morning. He never signed his name. The next day, there was a reply. "To the one who wrote to me, thank you. I don't know who you are, but your words felt honest." Jungkook waited for another letter. Taehyung wrote. Jungkook replied. Days turned into weeks, and the letters grew deeper, softer, filled with longing. Jungkook confessed in one letter, "Sometimes I wish I knew your face. Because my heart is already learning your soul." Jung pressed that letter to his chest and cried. Happy tears, scared tears. He wrote back, "If you knew me, you wouldn't love me." Jungkook replied, "Let me decide that." And so the secret admirer love story bloomed, quiet, tender, hidden. And slowly, Jungkook fell in love with the anonymous soul who wrote like the world was poetry. He wrote, "You make me feel seen in ways no one ever has." Taehyung smiled at those words for weeks. He wrote back, "If love had a voice, it would sound like the way you write." They were in love with each other, and yet they had never met. Hana had always sensed Taehyung hiding something. He smiled too much. He hummed around the house. He kept clutching his bag like it was sacred. One evening, while Taehyung was in the shower, Hana entered his room and opened his drawer. And she found them. Dozens of folded letters tied with a ribbon, all addressed to Jungkook, all signed, "Yours always, from someone who loves quietly." Her stomach twisted. Taehyung? In love? With someone like Jungkook? Her brother, the boy she believed deserved nothing? She read all the letters, every word dripping with emotion. She read how Jungkook replied, how he felt the same. Disgusting, Hana whispered. Pathetic. Delusional. Her jealousy flared with new fire. Why did Taehyung get someone like Jungkook? Why him again? Why always him? Why does he get everything? Something dark rose in her chest. Something poisonous. Taehyung and Jungkook finally decided to meet. Jungkook wrote, "Tomorrow, 5 p.m., behind the old music building, I'll be waiting." Taehyung held the letter tight. He was terrified, excited, shaking. He wanted to look beautiful. He wanted to look like someone worth loving. He ironed his shirt 3 times, combed his hair carefully, practiced introducing himself in front of the mirror. He did not know Hana had been watching. She waited until he left the room. Hana sat down. Her jealousy roared inside her like a monster. He already has beauty. He already has talent. He already has everyone's love. And now he gets Jungkook too? No, no, no. She would not let him take one more thing. Not Jungkook, not happiness, not anything. She made a plan in minutes. A cruel, flawless plan. At 4 p.m., Taehyung left home, nervous and shy. At 4:10 p.m., Hana followed quietly on her scooter. At 4:20 p.m., at a sharp, blind turn, Taehyung looked over his shoulder nervously. And that was the moment Hana pushed her scooter into him deliberately. The crash was loud. Taehyung fell. Hard. The pavement tore his skin. His head hit the curb. Blood spread around him. Hana stood there, heart racing, terrified, triumphant, shaking. Taehyung looked up at her through blurry eyes. Hana? His voice was confused, hurt, trembling. Why? Hana whispered coldly, "You don't deserve him." And she walked away, leaving her own brother bleeding on the road. At 5 p.m., Jungkook sat in the small flower-themed cafe, tapping his fingers restlessly against the porcelain cup. His heart was thumping like he was about to meet destiny. His secret admirer. The person whose words felt like warm rain in winter. The person who carried softness in every sentence. Someone who felt like home even without a name. When the door opened, he stood with hopeful eyes. But the person who walked in was not the one he imagined. A girl walked toward him, beautiful, self-assured, perfect hair, perfect makeup. Hana offered a practiced, shy smile. "Are you waiting for me?" Jungkook blinked. "You? You're the one who wrote the letters?" She nodded with an innocence she did not possess. Jungkook smiled, confused but relieved. "I didn't expect you." Hana sat down gracefully. "I didn't expect you to like me back." Like her back? Jungkook had never written the words, "I like you," but he couldn't deny he fell for the letters. The raw honesty, the trembling affection, the poetic sadness. And now she sat across from him in perfect skin and perfect clothes. Where were the soft eyes he imagined? The shy smile in the words? The trembling sincerity? Something felt wrong. But Hana leaned forward, touching Jungkook's hand. And the confusion melted as attraction took over. "You're beautiful," she whispered. Jungkook's heart skipped. Beautiful people rarely looked at him like that. He had fans, admirers, but genuine closeness? That was rare. He took a breath. "Can you prove it's you?" She slid Taehyung's stolen confession letter across the table. Jungkook read the familiar handwriting, the loops he memorized, the gentle curves. He swallowed. "It really is you." She smiled sweetly, hiding the cruelty in her heart. Yes, Jungkook, it's me. Taehyung woke to the smell of disinfectant. His vision blurred, then focused on the plain grey ceiling of a hospital room. Pain hit him like a wave. His leg was wrapped in thick plaster. His ribs burned. His shoulder throbbed. Taehyung! His mother rushed in, crying, holding his cold hand. He tried to sit up but failed. Uma, what happened? You were hit by a motorcycle. You could have died. She sobbed. Who did this to you? Taehyung closed his eyes. He remembered footsteps behind him, the whisper of his name, a shove. He remembered the silhouette. He remembered Hana, but he whispered, I don't know, because despite everything, despite the bruises, the insults, the years of silent torment, he loved her. Even in pain so deep it felt like betrayal, he protected her. The doctor walked in. He can't move too much. His leg is fractured in 2 places. Recovery will take months. We're lucky he survived. His mother cried harder. Taehyung stared at his injured leg. Months! That meant he couldn't go to the meeting. Jungkook would be waiting. Jungkook would think he abandoned him. His heart cracked slowly, painfully. He tried to reach for his phone with trembling fingers. One unread message. I'm here waiting. Where are you? Jungkook. Then another. Taehyung typed back with shaking hands. But before he could send it, the nurse took the phone away for monitoring. And Jungkook? Jungkook waited in the cafe, thinking his admirer would walk in any minute. Instead, Hana walked in his place. Taehyung lay alone in pain, while the girl who hated him stepped into his dream. Days passed. Taehyung healed slowly, painfully. He was discharged with crutches, moving like a shattered shadow of himself. Hana visited him only once. She sat at the foot of his bed, smiling casually. So, Oppa, you had an accident? How unlucky? Her tone was sharp, cold. Taehyung looked at her, his voice soft. I'm glad you're okay. She froze. Why did he still love her? Why wasn't she able to break him? Why was he always this good? It infuriated her more. Oh, she added with a smirk. I forgot to tell you, I met someone. Taehyung blinked. Someone? John Jungkook. Taehyung felt his breath stop. His fingers tightened around the blanket. He's the one I... Yes, Hana interrupted. He thinks I'm the one who wrote the letters. Every word stabbed him like a knife. Taehyung's lips trembled. Jungkook thinks it was you? Yes. A cruel smile twisted her mouth. And he likes me back. Something inside Taehyung shattered so quietly that no one heard the pieces fall. He swallowed. Hana, please don't do this. Her eyes hardened. I will do exactly this. Then she dropped the final blow. Uma and Uncle Min agreed. Our engagement is next month. Taehyung felt the world tilt. Engagement, marriage, a future stolen right out of his hands. He whispered, voice cracking, Hana, I love you. You're my sister. Please, don't destroy me. She leaned close and whispered into his ear, You were born to be destroyed by me. Taehyung didn't cry in front of her. He waited until she left. And then he broke. Silently, violently, completely. Taehyung's world became a blur of white lights, antiseptic smell, and pain that clung to him like a second skin. The accident had fractured his ribs, bruised half his body, and left him bedridden for weeks. But the pain in his limbs was nothing compared to the pain sitting under his ribs. The kind you couldn't see on X-rays. The pain of betrayal, The pain of knowing the person who hurt him was the one he loved more than himself. His sister, Hana. She visited him once, only once, on the second day after the accident. She stood at the foot of his bed like he was a stranger, not her brother. Taehyung tried to smile through the oxygen mask. Hana, don't worry, I'll be fine. She only looked at him coldly and said the words that destroyed him. Don't tell mom or anyone what actually happened. You slipped. That's the story. Taehyung, even with ribs screaming in agony, nodded. Of course he would protect her. Even now. Even after she pushed him down the stairs. Even after she stole his meeting with Jungkook. Hana turned and left, her heels clicking on the hospital floor, leaving Taehyung staring at the doorway long after she'd gone. For the first time in his life, he cried without holding back. Not because of the pain, not because of the fractures, because he realized he was utterly alone, and no one knew. No one ever would. 2 weeks later, the engagement was announced. Hana and Jungkook. People said it was fate, two beautiful, successful people meeting at the perfect time. But only Hana and Taehyung knew the truth. And Jungkook? Jungkook sensed nothing. At first, Jungkook looked confused whenever Hana spoke. He kept waiting for the warmth of the letters, the gentleness of the handwriting, the poetic soul he had fallen for. But Hana was blunt, short-tempered, impatient, sharp-tongued, nothing like the person who wrote, "When I look at you, I feel like I am looking at something God must have made on a slow Sunday, something he put extra care into." Hana would never say something like that. Still, Jungkook tried, because he believed love often sounded different when spoken aloud. So he smiled, he listened, he tried to see the softness he had fallen for somewhere in her eyes. But all he saw was calculation. Yet he kept going. Because he was in love with someone. He just didn't realize that someone wasn't Hana. Taehyung began walking again after 3 weeks. Painfully. Slowly. Quietly. He would stand in front of the mirror, lift his shirt and look at the bruises left across his ribs, like fingerprints of cruelty from someone who should have loved him. He never told anyone the truth. He stayed silent, the way he always had. But something inside him shifted. Something broke. Something changed forever. He packed his bags in secret, placing his clothes, his sketchbooks, and the letters Jungkook never got to read into a small suitcase. Every night he whispered to himself, "I'll leave soon. I have to." Not because he stopped loving Hana. No, he could never stop loving her. But because staying near her meant dying in pieces. And because watching Jungkook, the boy he wrote letters to, the boy he dreamed of, now holding Hana's hand. It was unbearable. He practiced smiling in the mirror. It never reached his eyes again. Jung woke to the smell of disinfectant. His vision blurred, then focused on the plain gray ceiling of a hospital room. Pain hit him like a wave. His leg was wrapped in thick plaster. His ribs burned. His shoulder throbbed. "Taehyung!" His mother rushed in, crying, holding his cold hand. He tried to sit up but failed. "Uma, what happened?" "You were hit by a motorcycle. You could have died." She sobbed. "Who did this to you?" Taehyung closed his eyes. He remembered footsteps behind him, the whisper of his name, a shove. "If I ever confess to you, it will be with a white rose, because white reminds me of calmness, and you are the calm inside my chaos." Hana stared at it as if he'd handed her garbage. "White rose? Why not red? White is so boring." Jungkook froze. Boring? The person from the letters would have cried from happiness. He forced a smile anyway. I thought you liked white because of the letters. Oh, those old things? Hana waved dismissively. I barely remember what I wrote. Jungkook's chest tightened. Barely remember? He remembered every word, every sentence that had held him together during hard days, every line that felt like someone understood him. But none of it matched the girl standing in front of him. He started noticing more inconsistencies. Hana's handwriting, her speaking style, her eye contact, all wrong, all mismatched. A seed of doubt began to form, small, quiet, uncomfortable. The first crack in Hana's perfect lie, and she noticed it too. Her eyes sharpened, her smiles grew tighter, her grip on Jungkook's hand became possessive. Because she sensed he was slipping, and Hana had never allowed anything she wanted to slip away. Especially not Jungkook, especially not someone Taehyung loved. Taehyung had always moved quietly through life, but now he moved like a shadow trying to erase itself. 3 months had passed since the accident. His ribs had healed. His legs still hurt on cold nights. But his heart hadn't healed at all. Hana and Jungkook were now officially engaged. The world celebrated. Everyone smiled. Everyone praised the beautiful couple. And Taehyung watched from the corner of rooms like a ghost haunting his own life. He avoided their eyes. He avoided their laughter. He avoided anyone who asked him, Taehyung, are you okay? Because he wasn't. And he didn't know how to lie anymore. Every night he stayed out later. Sometimes he slept in the library. Sometimes in the art room. Sometimes in the empty music hall. His mother noticed. Jungkook noticed. Even Hana noticed. But only Hana knew why Taehyung was fading. And she loved it. Because if Taehyung disappeared, then all the love would finally be hers. Jungkook was not stupid. He was kind, he was gentle, he was trusting, but he was not stupid. And Hana kept slipping. At first it was small things. The admirers' letters were poetic, soft, full of emotions that touched the soul. Hana's real texts to him were short, dry, often irritated. The admirers' letters spoke of watching the sunset from the university rooftop. Hana had once said she hated heights. The admirer admired Jungkook's art and discussed techniques and styles. Hana didn't even know the difference between watercolor and acrylic. Jungkook started to reread the letters secretly. There was pain in those letters. Depth, loneliness. A voice desperate for love yet terrified of being seen. But Hana was confident, loud, controlling, always trying to pull him where she wanted. Jungkook watched her, not in admiration, but in confusion. Something was missing. Something was wrong. After dinner, he walked home with Taehyung's mother. Hana had left with her friends. Taehyung didn't come tonight either, Jungkook said softly. Mrs. Kim sighed. He's been drifting away. I'm worried. Jungkook had noticed that too. Taehyung, who used to greet him with soft smiles, now avoided him completely. He walked with his head down, shoulders small, like he didn't belong anywhere. Jungkook felt a strange ache inside. He wanted to talk to him. He wanted to ask him why. He wanted to ask him, are you hurting? But Taehyung always slipped away before he could speak. Jungkook didn't know why Taehyung's sadness mattered so much to him. He only knew it did, deeply. More deeply than he wanted to admit. One morning, Jungkook arrived at the house early to bring flowers for Mrs. Kim. He saw Taehyung quietly dragging a suitcase toward the gate. Taehyung, Jungkook called. Taehyung froze. His shoulders trembled. Slowly, painfully slowly, he turned. Jungkook-si, he whispered. His voice sounded broken. His eyes empty. Are you going somewhere? Jungkook asked gently. Taehyung swallowed. Just A school trip. With a suitcase? Taehyung lowered his head. He didn't lie, he didn't explain. He didn't defend himself. He simply whispered, "I need to go." And he walked past Jungkook as if every step was pulling his heart apart. Jungkook stood there holding the flowers, feeling something in his chest collapse. Something was terribly wrong, and he needed to know what. Truth didn't explode. It cracked, slowly, painfully, like thin glass under pressure. It started with Jungkook finding a notebook in the living room. Hana had forgotten to hide it after snooping. Inside, Jungkook found pages ripped out, pages she had taken from Taehyung's old sketchbooks. Sketches of events, sketches of Jungkook, sketches of hands holding letters. And then, a draft letter, written in the same handwriting as the admirers' letters. Same curves, same softness, same trembling emotions. Jungkook felt a chill run down his arms. He flipped the page, another draft, and another. Every word matched the tone he had fallen in love with, but they were written by Taehyung, not Hana. He sat down slowly, heart pounding. Taehyung? His breaths grew shaky. His eyes burned. The truth wrapped around him like ice and fire combined. Taehyung was the one he had loved. Taehyung was the soul behind the letters. Taehyung was the one he was supposed to meet that night. Taehyung was the one who got into the accident instead. And Hana was the one who went in his place. Hana was the one who lied, stole, manipulated, destroyed Taehyung's heart. Jungkook closed the notebook. His hands were shaking, his voice trembled. Oh God, what did she do to him? Stood in the center of the living room, Hana's bag in his hand, the secret letters, the real letters, scattered across the floor like fallen feathers. Taehyung's handwriting, Taehyung's scent, Taehyung's soul in every sentence. Hana froze when she saw them. Her smile faded. Her breath hitched, her fingers tightened around the edge of the doorframe. "Wabyu, why are you holding those?" she whispered. Jungkook looked up slowly. His jaw clenched. His eyes were wet, not with sadness, but with betrayal so sharp it felt like it could cut through the walls. "Hana," he said softly, "tell me you didn't do this." Her lips trembled. What are you talking about?" Jungkook picked up one of the letters. Creases soft, ink slightly faded, but still carrying a warmth that Hana could never replicate. "You told me you wrote this." She swallowed. "I did." "No." His voice broke. "You couldn't have." Jungkook stepped closer. Every letter was gentle, thoughtful, soft, full of scars hidden under poetry. He stared directly at Hana. "You don't write like that. You don't feel like that." Hana's jaw tightened. "So what? You think my feelings are fake? You think I can love?" Jungkook's eyes hardened. "I think you used someone else's heart to win mine." Her expression cracked, and then it shattered. "Why does it matter?" she screamed suddenly. "You love me now. We're engaged. You're mine." Jungkook flinched at her voice. This was no longer insecurity. This was desperation. "Hana," he said cautiously, "whose letters are these?" Silence. "Hana." She backed away. "It doesn't matter." "It does," Jungkook snapped, voice trembling. "Because I fell in love with the person who wrote these. I fell in love with their pain, their dreams, their loneliness." Not me?" Hana cried. "So what if it wasn't me? I deserve love, not him." "Who?" Jungkook whispered. Hana froze again. Her breath shortened, and Jungkook felt his chest grow cold. "Taehyung?" he whispered. That was when Hana broke. completely. Her eyes went wild. Her hands shook. She took a step forward like she was about to tear the world apart. "I hate him," she screamed. "He takes everything. He steals everyone's attention, everyone's love, even you." "Han, he was supposed to die that day," she screamed. "I pushed him on purpose so he would never meet you, never steal anything again." Jungkook stepped backward, horror tightening his spine. "You caused his accident," he whispered. "You tried to kill your own brother." Hana's breath trembled. Then she screamed, "I wish I had." Jungkook didn't remember how he ran out of the house. He didn't remember grabbing his coat or getting into his car, or the cold air slapping his face like punishment. All he remembered was Taehyung, Taehyung's soft letters, Taehyung's gentle words, Taehyung's silent suffering hidden between sentences, Taehyung's accident, Taehyung's missing smile, Taehyung, Taehyung, Taehyung. Jungkook searched everywhere: the art building, the campus benches, the quiet alley near the bakery Taehyung always wrote about, the rooftop he once described in a letter. "It's where I go when the world gets too loud, and I wish someone would hold me for once." He wasn't there. Jungkook's hands shook. His breaths came out in harsh bursts. Then he ran to the siblings' home, empty. Taehyung's closet half open, clothes missing, his sketchbooks gone. Jungkook whispered, horrified, "No, please don't tell me he left." Then he saw a note, small, folded carefully, left on Taehyung's pillow. Jungkook opened it with trembling fingers. It wasn't meant for him. It wasn't meant for anyone, but it broke him. "If I leave, maybe Hana will finally be happy. If I disappear, maybe she will stop hating me. I'm sorry, Jungkook. Thank you for the letters. Thank you for giving me a reason to breathe for a little while. Die." Jungkook's vision blurred. "No," he whispered, voice cracking. "No, no, no." He grabbed his phone and dialed, and redialed, and redialed. Taehyung's number was switched off. Jungkook pressed the phone to his forehead and broke down in the empty room. "I'm so sorry, Taehyung," he whispered. "Please, please come back." The truth didn't explode. It cracked, slowly, painfully, like thin glass under pressure. It started with Jungkook finding a notebook in the living room. Hana had forgotten to hide it after snooping. Inside, Jungkook found pages ripped out, pages she had taken from Taehyung's old sketchbooks. Sketches of events, sketches of Jungkook, sketches of hands holding letters. And then, a draft letter, written in the same handwriting as the admirer's letters. Same curves, same softness, same trembling emotions. Jungkook felt a chill run down his arms. He flipped the page, another draft, and another. Every word matched the tone he had fallen in love with, but they were written by Taehyung, not Hana. He sat down slowly, heart pounding. But today, something changed. Today, he realized, she would never stop. He was poison to her, a curse, a monster she believed she had to destroy. So Taehyung decided to remove himself from her world. Not to punish her, to free her. He reached the bus stop, trembling, exhausted, soul bruised. Jungkook found him near dawn. After 6 hours of searching, his car practically flying down highways and empty roads, Jungkook finally spotted a lone figure sitting at the bus terminal on the edge of the city. Head down, face hidden behind dark bangs. A backpack held tightly like a shield. Taehyung. Jungkook slammed the brakes, jumped out of the car, and ran. Taehyung! Taehyung looked up slowly. His eyes were swollen. His lips were trembling. His face was pale as moonlight. When he saw Jungkook, he inhaled sharply, as if he didn't believe he was real. Jungkook reached him, breathless, heart pounding, tears threatening to fall again. "Why did you leave?" Jungkook whispered. Taehyung looked away. "You shouldn't be here." "Why?" Jungkook shouted, voice cracking. "Why would you think I could ever let you go?" Taehyung flinched. "Please don't. I can't take any more pain." Jungkook slowly knelt in front of him. "Tae," he whispered. "I know everything." Taehyung froze. "Hana lied to me," Jungkook said. "She used your letters. She stole your words. She pretended to be you. She even—" His voice trembled. "She even confessed she caused your accident." Taehyung's breath stopped. "I'm so sorry, Tae," Jungkook whispered. "I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. I'm sorry I didn't find you before you broke." Taehyung's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't want you to know," he whispered. "I didn't want to ruin your life too." Jungkook cupped Taehyung's face gently. So gently Taehyung felt like he might fall apart from the warmth alone. "You didn't ruin anything," Jungkook whispered. "You saved me." Taehyung choked. "But Hana, I don't love her," Jungkook said firmly. "I never did. I only loved the person behind the letters." His thumb brushed Taehyung's cheek. "The person was you." Taehyung's tears finally spilled, quiet and uncontrollable. Jungkook pulled him into a tight embrace. Taehyung shook in his arms like someone who had been holding pain for years. Jungkook whispered into his shoulder, "Don't leave me. Don't disappear again. Please, Taehyung, stay." Taehyung clung to him, broken and fragile. And for the first time in his life, he let someone save him. Hana sat alone in the dimly lit room of the house, the walls echoing the emptiness she had created for herself. The carefully constructed lie, the web she had spun around Jungkook and Taehyung was unraveling. You don't love me," she whispered to herself, tears sliding down her cheeks. "You love him. You always loved him." Memories of bullying Taehyung, of laughing while torturing him in university, of stealing moments she thought belonged only to her. Every action now came back to haunt her. She had always been jealous of him, his beauty, his talent, his charm, and the way everyone, even their parents, admired him. But now her jealousy had turned into destruction. And in destroying him, she had destroyed herself. It started with small sobs, then grew into uncontrollable wailing. She threw papers, letters, everything in reach, symbols of the happiness she had tried to steal and now could never have. Hana's breakdown had finally alerted their mother. The truth spilled out. Hana's jealousy, her bullying, and her deception with Jungkook. The revelation shook the family. Their mother wept bitterly at her son's silent suffering, realizing for the first time how much Taehyung had endured. She had always been so busy with work that she had failed to notice Hana's cruel games. Their father, though long gone, was remembered through the heavy silence of the house. But in that silence, Taehyung finally felt the acknowledgement he had always craved. He didn't need apologies anymore. What he needed was love, the love he had been denied for years. It was a rainy evening when Taehyung returned to the house, this time holding Jungkook's hand. Hana had been taken for counseling. The police had been involved briefly, but the focus was on healing, not punishment. The family gathered. Their mother embraced Taehyung tightly, whispering, "I'm so sorry, my son. I should have seen your pain. I promise never again." For Taehyung, it was overwhelming. The love he had yearned for all his life, the warmth he had been denied, filled him entirely. Jungkook squeezed his hand. "You don't have to endure anything alone anymore," he said softly. Taehyung smiled, tears streaming down his face. "I finally feel like I belong. I finally feel loved. And as they stood there, surrounded by family and finally feeling the weight lift off his shoulders, Taehyung realized one undeniable truth. He had survived, endured, and now, at last, he could live for himself and the love he had always deserved. Weeks passed, and Taehyung slowly rediscovered himself. His confidence was no longer the mask of perfection. It was genuine. His smile was no longer a shield. It was real. One evening, after the family had come together to reconcile and heal, Jungkook took Taehyung's hand in his. "I never want you to doubt that you're worthy of love," he said. "Not from me, not from anyone. You've been strong for everyone else. Now let me be strong for you." Taehyung's eyes glistened with tears, but they were tears of relief, not pain. I don't know what to say," he murmured. "You don't need to say anything," Jungkook replied, leaning closer. "Just let it be us." That moment marked a true beginning. The love Taehyung had yearned for, pure, accepting, and steady, was finally his. No pretense, no jealousy, no masks. Even his parents had begun learning to see him as he truly was. Brilliant, kind, gentle, and deserving of all the love they had delayed giving. Hana's lessons, painful as they were, had finally ended. Taehyung emerged not broken but shining, supported by family who now truly cared, and by Jungkook, whose love was patient, knowing, and eternal. For the first time, Taehyung felt whole,